What's up, Sons of Montezuma? San Diego State versus Ohio. The Aztecs take on the Bobcats this Saturday. Football is finally here, and taking us into the film room for our game plan to victory is our resident coach and Aztec for life, Coach C joins the show. All right, Aztec Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. It is your host, Mateo. Definitely want to make sure that you guys are subscribed for today's show because joining us is Coach C, our resident football coach and analyst. He's a good friend of the show. He joined us these last few seasons, breaking down some X's and O's, and we're very happy to have him back again. So make sure you are liking and subscribing on YouTube. You definitely want to follow on all of our social media. And of course, check out sonsofmontezuma.com for all of our articles and our NIL shop. Coach C, what's going on, man? How are you doing? I see you got the Raider Nation hat on. You've been pretty busy.
No, I'm trying to represent my two favorite teams, Raiders, and of course my Aztecs.
Just win, baby.
It's been good. It was a good off season, a lot of fun. Just got finished going to a lot of Raider practices. Went to their first preseason game, ran into a couple of Aztecs there, Kirk Morrison there, Akbar, just saw them yelling out Aztecs. And of course they perked up real quick because it's always fun to run into former Aztecs and guys that either I coached or guys that I used to go to school with there. And still nice knit family. And I'm excited about this upcoming season for sure.
On both sides, I'm sure. The Raiders and Aztecs, there's been a lot of Aztecs and Raiders crossover throughout the years. I'm thinking of Carl Weathers. We were talking about Carl Weathers just the other day.
There is no tomorrow.
A lot of guys throughout the years. Miles Burris, Kirk Morrison, of course. So very cool, very cool. I'm sure there's some listening out there that are part of the Aztec Nation and the Raider Nation.
I love it. I'm one of them. That's for sure.
All right. And so, I mean, from your perspective as an alum, as a former coach, how did you see everything play out? The fault line shook and everything is kind of scattered and we're left, in the Mountain West for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad the football season's coming up because it was too much of just ups and downs of hearing just the hearsay of where we could be headed or not. And there was just so much where I'm getting my hopes up about a Pac-12 invitation and we accept it to, man, I don't want nothing to do with that, conference, what's going on, just getting my emotions involved because it was the fan in me and it was the Aztec in me, of course. But I couldn't wait to get to the season. Then I started thinking, you know what, if I was coaching right now, the last thing I want my players doing is getting so involved emotionally with what's going on, something that they can't control. I want them focused on making sure they're going to have their bodies right, their mindset right, because what happens on the football field, and I don't care who your opponent is, that's what matters the most, that you stick together as a team. And I wouldn't want my team playing like they're disappointed because they're not in a certain conference. It really isn't about that. As fun as it was to be a part of the WAC way back in the day, I was a student. And then us moving to the Mountain West, and I was like, okay, this is going to be new and different. And now we really become the identity of Mountain West these last few years with all these conference championships that we've gotten, all these bowls that we got to represent our conference. We really developed some nice rivalries. And I guess I was looking forward to the change, but you just start reading the mess that's going on. You don't know what direction college football is going in. You're hearing new teams trying to say, well, we're going to go here. Geographically, none of it makes sense. And you start realizing, you know what, you don't want to hear it no more. You just want to get to what counts. Play football. Let's get back to playing football. And that's really what I'm excited about. And whoever we're playing, I don't like any of them when they're going against my Aztecs. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's Ohio or USC or Washington. I want to beat them all. Hey, we're back at Mountain West, and I hope that we represent the Mountain West as proud as we've done in the last few years, no matter how upset the administrators might be with San Diego State. One thing they sure can't deny that we've represented that conference really, really well. And our kids have, to all credit goes to the coaches and the kids, because you don't hear bad things from them, which is great. And I hope that continues. So that's why I'm looking forward to the kickoff. Represent the Aztecs, represent the Mountain West, do it proudly. And wherever things fall in the future, they fall. Just keep representing whoever you belong to with class. And right now we're just Aztecs. And that's what I want to see this year. I'm looking forward to this year, them doing it again.
So now that we're kicking off this 2023 season, Coach, this team is coming in with a good mindset. We've had a chance to talk to several of the players, right? We have NIL deals with them and different interviews, a lot of Jalen Maiden to Keenan Kristen to Garrett Fountain and several others. And so they're ready. They should know this Ohio program. The Aztecs lost to them 27-0 several years back, and it was kind of a turning point for our program. So there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to be ready for this game. So tell us a little bit about what you're expecting to see from our Aztecs in this 2023 season.
Well, the big thing is Ryan Lindley, the new offensive coordinator, has had a whole offseason now to really establish really the foundation of this offense, where during last season, he did such a masterful job of coming in, making quick changes, necessary changes. Jalen Maiden did such a great job of executing those changes that really helped our offense really step it up to a whole nother level. And it was impressive the way the quarterback and the new offensive coordinator made that transition. Defense was still keeping their end of the deal, where they were just bringing it every game, still the identity. I'm hoping they still are the identity. But what Jalen brought, just that MVP type attitude and performance that we needed, in that position. And a lot of credit goes to Coach Lindley, because, he's a former quarterback, coming with the mentality of seeing things, what a quarterback needs to see. And then Jalen just really did a great job. So I'm really looking forward to, man, you've had this whole offseason establishing it from the ground up, new wideouts coming in, really looking forward to the running back there, Kristen, to come in and establish himself of being that 1-2 punch with Jalen. Jalen's such a dual threat, and he was just quite impressive. But really the trio I'm looking for is literally the OC with Kristen being that breakaway featured back for us. And of course, we've always done it by committee and all that, but I'm expecting him to be the guy that leads the way. And then just seeing how Jalen, he showed such maturity last year. And now what's he going to look like, after this full season where the whole program, and literally the program, knows this is the guy, he's going to lead us. And a lot's going to go a long way. We need that, because you mentioned Ohio coming up. Ohio's no joke. I'm looking at them and I'm like, these guys, they better not take these guys lightly. They better not.
Yeah, you're right, man. When it comes to Ohio, I was looking, I believe they won 10 games last year, and they actually beat Wyoming in their bowl game that they played at the end of the year, went into overtime. So it was the Barstool Bowl.
That aspect about winning that Barstool, they did that with CJ Harris, their backup quarterback, who is another good one. I mean, he's really good, athletic, got a big arm. But as far as our program is concerned, what really is going to be a fun game to watch, this Ohio San Diego State game, is they got a prolific offense now with this quarterback. They averaged almost 32 points a game last year with this quarterback. They got 9 starters coming back from that group. And our secondary, we got 6 out of 7 secondary guys that are coming back. So it's going to be a nice chess match to watch. Just the veteran type experience that you're going to see on both sides of the ball going at it at the same time on the field. And we're going to need that. We're going to need all that experience, because these guys, you've had the whole offseason, Ohio. Like what a bowl game does is, a bowl game, you almost have a month to get prepared for a bowl game, or at least a longer. So you could put in trick plays. You could put in extra protections or little things that get you out of character that maybe, gives you more time to practice. And this first game of the season, it's going to be the same thing. Ohio, with these veterans, they don't have to spend as much time implementing the basics. They can say, all right, let's get through this quick. And now this is what's going to be unique for this great San Diego State defense that they're, of course, getting prepared for on protections, and how to attack certain coverages that we like to do. And, of course, on the flip side of that, we get to disguise things a little bit better because we've had all off season to, all right, we want to give this look, and that's going to be very vital, especially against a veteran quarterback like this, Kurtis Rourke is, he's the offensive player of the year, the MAC MVP. I mean, this kid he's going to get looked at from some teams that play on Sunday. He's legit. He is legit, and he's worthy of getting those kind of looks for sure.
From looking at, his game tape, his highlights, what is the aspect of his game that kind of stands out the most to you?
Well, we just got thank God he moved on to the NFL, Jake Haener. And what Jake Haener was so good about is, one, he's got a great offensive-minded coach. They spread the field, and he always knows where to go. And Jake Haener was just the problem mentally. And then once in a while, he'll kill you with his legs. Well, Kurtis Rourke has the same kind of feel. He reminds me of Drew Bledsoe, where he's just tall, stands tall in the pocket, kind of slings it like Drew Bledsoe. Real accurate quarterback. And he's very comfortable of just having 5 blockers and setting his 4 to 5 receivers out there and just reading your coverage. And boy, if you give him time, and we'll go over that, if you give him time, he's gonna eat you up. He's gonna eat you up. And so there's got a lot of things that we have to make sure we bring our A game defensively to make it as hard as possible, because if we do not, he is gonna light up that scoreboard, and he doesn't need great receivers. He's a guy that can throw guys open. He's a guy that can buy time for himself, but he's always got his eyes downfield, and his arm is good enough that he can reach any area in the football field. So you cannot be a DB where you're lazy. You can't be a DB where you just take a peek back and make any mental mistake. He's the kind of quarterback, like kind of what Jake Haener was, that can get streaky. And once he gets going, oh boy, put your seatbelt on, because you're going on for a ride, and you better change things up real quick by getting to him, because if you don't, he's going to eat you alive. And with 9 starters, 8 of them coming with him, they're going to be able to have their communication down cold, where he can give a receiver a look. He can give a little nickname to something new, and they'll be on the exact same page. So it's going to be a fun game. And this is one game, I tell you what, if the Aztecs can come out on top, this is a very quality win for them to get. Cannot take these guys lightly. 10-win team, for sure, like you had mentioned before. They're quality, and I know they're expecting to be 10-plus wins again this season is what their expectations are. So hopefully that first one isn't against us.
Really good stuff. Do you want to jump into some of the film?
Sure. All right, so talking about Kurtis Rourke, good quarterback, fantastic quarterback. No doubt there's going to be NFL teams that are looking at him. He has the qualities that you're looking for in a kid. Tall, big, stands tall in the pocket, really takes advantage of mistakes a defense will make. This is against Fordham. He had a massive, massive day against Fordham. I think he threw for like 530,000 yards against these guys in this game. And Fordham was no joke. They're 3-0 team, but they sure made a lot of mental mistakes. And he, to Kurtis Rourke's credit, he took advantage of all of it. And so here you got a 2nd and 8 situation. And I bring this up because these are the little things that our Aztecs can't afford to do. And sometimes it's hard when it's the first game of the season. As coaches, you really do your best to prepare kids to get ready for the season. But, the jitters, sometimes, you think you've covered all the details from A to Z. And then sometimes you don't, you just don't know how kids are going to respond or whatever else. That's why I'm saying it's such a good thing that we have so many experienced guys that are coming back in our secondary, because these are the kind of mistakes that you can't make, because if you do, this quarterback right here, Rourke, he's going to take advantage of it. And so got a situation here where I'm going to rewind this just a little bit so you can see at the very beginning here, these safeties here, they're really super tight. And right away, when I'm looking at this film, I'm like, oh, not good. Your safeties are literally about 7 to 8 yards off the ball, really tight. You got man coverage, and they're playing inside leverage. So right away, a smart quarterback like Rourke, he's going to say, okay, I got man coverage, and I got 2 safeties that are inside the hashes, and they're playing really tight. you pretty much have given an invitation for him to go deep. And all these receivers have to do is just beat the guy to the outside, and they're going to have plenty of real estate for Rourke here to just go ahead and throw this thing up. And right away, that's exactly what you see. You're deep in your territory. You're at your own 3-yard line, and immediately DBs get beat, and you got safeties that are not in a hurry of helping out. They're more concerned about a run play on 2nd and 8. And as a coach, you're looking at your secondary. You want to teach these safeties, especially if they're going to be helping run support. You better be able to have the ability to read hats. And what we mean by that, these helmets, if a high hat comes up where these linemen start standing tall, that's a great indication that it's a pass play. So high hat goes up and they're still tight. And immediately these receivers are to the outside of these DBs. They're beat right now. If you're even, you're leaving. And so Rourke, he's got it comfortably, goes through his steps, and look at how comfortable he looks in just throwing this ball. He's just comfortable, like he's at the park throwing to his nephew, and just puts it right on the guy. And look at, he's just comfortable, and he's going to put plenty of air, plenty of room on that, and you got bad tackling, plenty of room. This is guys in chase mode, and that's the last thing we need to happen come this Saturday, where we have little things like that, where you're giving a quarterback this good, easy throws. We got to make sure our Aztec secondary guys, they're working as a unit. They've done that in the past really well, and they're going to have to be on their A game against a quarterback like this, that you can't give them anything easy. You know, can't make mental mistakes where you're just leaving guys on an island when they're at their own 3-yard line, and you give them a great opportunity to pick up 40 to 50 yards on the very first play and get them out of trouble. Don't make it easy on these guys. Our defense is good. If they're going to score, you want to make sure that they need 12 to 15 play drives where they're doing that in a row. That's hard to do against our defense, but don't give them a 2-play drive where they get an easy point. You know, if you're going to make a mistake, make it in front of you. You don't want to put that in that position. Another one here I'll fast forward to is this play right here. Is we can't give him a comfortable pocket. We got to get pressure on this kid. Here, as I play this thing, you're going to look at this pocket, and I'm going to pause it and look at this pocket. I mean, that C cup is as good as it gets. That's a U cup, for crying out loud. He is so deep. He can see things. He's comfortable, and good quarterbacks that are comfortable, all of a sudden, he's feeling like Aaron Rodgers. He's feeling like Tom Brady. He is seeing everything as much as we can't have this. Okay. We are known for putting pressure on quarterbacks. And so that's something that we have to make sure that our identity, he feels the identity of the Aztec defense. Here, he's just too comfortable. Can't give him nice, easy, where he's relaxed and he's throwing and playing catch at the park with the receiver. And then you can't have mistakes that where you have DBs looking to see what's happening behind the pocket and you're forgetting your receivers.
Wide open.
Yeah, he's wide open, and it's just easy. You know, you already got a 7-0 lead. It's the first quarter, and he's bringing you up again. And, you know, and it's comfortable. This is a 1-2 team playing a 3-0 team, and I understand the conference thing, but you got to be better than this. And that's something that doesn't represent what they're trying to do defensively. That's a real bad look altogether, and something that we better not make those mistakes. Because last year, that's what I noticed. At times when we played great quarterbacks, if our communication wasn't right, great quarterbacks took advantage of that right away.
That is going to be the challenge for this year's defense. I know we're used to getting that big pass rush, but we've made note of it that our defensive line it's a very different looking defensive line due to graduation.
Yeah.
You know, Jonah Tavai is gone. You know, Keyshawn Banks is gone now. You know, of course, the great Cam Thomas has been doing wonderful things in the league, but you know, it's a different looking defensive front for the Aztecs. Garrett Fountain is a name we thrown out there. He's a senior captain, but you know, along the line, it's going to be a lot of question marks that we're going to find out early in this season.
Yeah,
very quick.
Good point. And they got a standard that they got to match that's been set for them, and a proud standard that is for sure. That we do hit the quarterback, we do put pressure on the quarterback, and a lot of that has to do with scheme too. Coaches do a great job of scheming some nice stuff, and there too. is the benefit of an off season where it's the first game of the season. You don't think those DCs have been drawing up new types of pressures? And boy, we got to make sure that our pressures are at their optimum best to put this quarterback in a situation where he has to make tough throws all game long. Don't give him anything easy. Here's another situation here on this play where our DBs cannot have bad eyes. And you see again, this time these two secondary guys are safety and strong safety here. They're playing now at a little bit deeper level than they were earlier on the earlier clip. They're at 10 yards now. And watch how they just bite on something that really isn't a strong fake at all. They're sitting here and you got bad eyes, not really a strong fake, and you got a safety that has run up literally 6 yards on a very weak hi-hat play action, and he's really left his DB here on the bottom of the screen left to dry where he has no help. You know, you've shown this kind of zone cover 4 look, and you bid on something, and now you're in chase mode, and you're really not helping nobody. He doesn't have running back responsibility because look where his eyes go, and it's almost like a uh-oh type feel that he has. And immediately this quarterback says, are you kidding me? You're giving me another one-on-one situation, and he's going to take advantage of it. And that's tough. That's tough. You gave yourself a big game. The DB, you know, got his eyes up in frustration because what are we doing? Again, these linemen are going to give indicators for your secondary that if they stand tall, showing a pass look, and really the fake by the quarterback, really it's a weak fake. It's not really carried out well. But yet, if you have lazy eyes as a DB and you're not too disciplined, you rewarded a bad fake. And when you reward a bad fake and make his job easier, it's going to be a long day. You don't want to do that. And he threw for 533,000 yards, like I told you, in this one game. And it's because of those little things. And I'm sure the Fordham secondary coach was just pulling his hair out because of it was a consistent problem. And we don't have that reputation of making mental mistakes defensively. But when it's week one and some new faces that are, you know, sprinkled here and there on the defense, like you mentioned earlier in the front, you know, our secondary is really going to have to really be special. And I'm expecting them to be. You know, it's just something that these are the little reminders. Hey, let's just make sure, let's force him to make great throws and don't give him any gimmies. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, this next one, this is a sweet, sweet throw. I mean, the guy, like I said, he's going to be getting looked at because of his size. One, he's got the arm too. But throws like this, you're going to see come next April. If he comes out for the draft, I know he's a sophomore. He probably is going to come back to college. But when that day does come, when it's draft day, this is a clip that no doubt they're going to show. And it's to kind of show his accuracy here. This is against, I believe, Buffalo. And he's going back to pass. He moves a little bit, and look at this dot right on the corner of the end zone. It was so impressive. You watch things like this from a quarterback. And again, he's moving around. It's not the cleanest of pie. He feels pressure, but just leads the guy, puts it where only his guy can get it. And so that's the kind of talent we're going to be facing here. And so it's like, okay, what is it that we got to do to make sure that he doesn't do this consistently? Because if you don't get pressure on him, if you don't disguise certain coverages, he's going to be comfortable. And that's the last thing we need come Saturday. We want him being very uncomfortable, coming off the field after 3 and outs, being very frustrated, feeling like he cannot set his feet. If he can set his feet and feel relaxed and stand tall in the pocket, his ability is going to be frustrating for us to stop, even when we do have good coverage like this young man here for Buffalo had. Now, some of the things that we can do against him or that we need to do, in my perspective, we've got to get middle pressure on him. We got to get middle pressure. That earlier clip that I showed where he looked like he was just in this gorgeous pocket, plenty of room. He likes that. Every quarterback does. No quarterback likes middle pressure at all. And Penn State here does a good job of getting middle pressure on him. And I told you he reminds me of Bledsoe as far as the way he throws, the way he carries himself and the way he delivers a football, accurate and all that. And here, Penn State does a good job of just getting pressure in here, and he doesn't like that. See how his whole body weight is backpedaling here, and he's going to throw on his back foot, and that's where he really starts losing accuracy. If we can hit him early and at least get middle pressure on him, he's going to end up throwing some floaters like this where he's not really throwing on target. Good coverage here by Penn State. You had a chance to make a pick if that safety had been over a yard or two over. He's going to go ahead and just try to come up with something where he likes to create. He does like to create. He has that ability to create. I wouldn't say he's masterful at it, but like any quarterback that's considered a pocket quarterback, boy, they hate middle pressure. Making him run to his left rather than to his right. And again, these are Captain Obvious type statements, but the type of pressures that you do put, that you draw up and that you scheme on a quarterback, and they're smart too. They're going to scheme some things where they're going to change his launching point or whatever else, but you want to make sure that you're just making him feel your presence. You don't have to sack him. You don't even have to hit him all the time. But if he's feeling like he needs to get rid of that ball in that 3-second window, and where he's checking it down, quarterbacks like this, sometimes they don't like 12, 15 play drives. They kind of get impatient. They really like that deep ball. They fall in love with the deep ball, especially those that throw a good deep ball. They have fun doing that. I think our DBs are going to match up well with their receivers. They got a transfer kid, I know, that we won't know really what he looks like until Saturday. But if we can make him feel our presence defensively, and then on the offensive side of the ball, Coach Lindley can come up with a scheme where we're keeping Rourke on the sideline, where he's a spectator, where he's only getting 2 to 3 drives per quarter. That's another thing that frustrates a quarterback, where he wants to hit home runs because he gets antsy. He's on the sideline, and 5 and 6 minutes off the clock has gone by, and he looked at the clock and it said 12 minutes from the quarter, and he looks up again and there's 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the quarter, and he's like, man, we got to do something on this drive. We might not see the ball again, and they get antsy and they try to, swing for the fences, if you will. And you want to get them in that mindset, so it's going to be interesting what kind of pressures we see from our defensive coordinator, how he approaches the disguises of giving a certain look to safety high, rolling to a single safety high, rolling to 2 safety high off of a single look, showing pressure, backing off of the pressure, bringing a linebacker and dropping a D lineman where you're trying to confuse their O-line guys. And really, honestly, Matt, this is where it comes to play. Whenever you're facing a good quarterback like this, that's good, he's seasoned, he's used to having success, it's not so much how can I trick him, it's how can I trick these 5? Because if you can trick these 5 on a consistent basis, I don't care how good he is, he's going to start getting hit and he's going to start getting frustrated. And all of a sudden, it looks like there's 13 guys playing on defense rather than the 11, because you're consistently getting someone free because of the confusion that you're bringing to them, But that's not an easy task now. Anybody that's going to spread the field out and has a quarterback like this kid and what his older brother is, trust me, that coach over there at Ohio, he knows perfectly well that we got to be really smart here. And their defense, Ohio's defense, they kind of do what we do. They like to run that 3-3-5 kind of a look, give you different looks, bring some weird pressures, disguise things because they know they can't match up with you athletically. So they got to beat you mentally. And that's the kind of approach. And so they're going to have a lot of practice against that kind of defense. So that's going to be one thing for them. They're going to be able to discover, are we going to need to keep a 6th guy to help out? And I'm hoping so, or a 7th guy. And so both offenses, theirs and ours, they're going to have a quality summer of practice, because it's going to be, we're going to get great looks from their scout defense or from our defense, our ones against our offense. Here's a look Ohio likes to do. We like to do the same thing. This is how we want to apply this pressure. So it's going to really, it should be a fun game. And I look forward to a heavy chess match. That's for sure between these two, between these two at all. With 2 good quarterbacks and 2 good offensive minds, with two quality defenses and quality programs. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a real good football game.
It really is. Like you're saying, it's almost like a duel of quarterbacks. I think everybody's coming in excited to see what Jalen Maiden can do. This Rourke is getting all of the love, all of the national, headlines coming into this game. It's a week 0 game, right? Not many of them going on, so a lot of eyeballs. And like you said, he's coming off that ACL injury, so a lot of anticipation for what he's gonna do. But same thing with Jalen, right? It's his full offseason coming in as the Aztecs quarterback. So a lot of curiosity to see, okay, is he going to be able to carry on and improve from last year? So this is going to be a pretty good duel between these two quarterbacks. Both the guys have greater aspirations for football after college. And this is going to be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, and I hope Jalen doesn't come in this game where he's like feeling like I got to do something spectacular.
Right.
Run the scheme, run the offense, and be a solid foundation again, like he was last year. And literally the offense, I'd rather see them score 27 points and have 40 minutes of ball possession. You know what I mean? And keeping this very good Ohio offense on that sideline as much as possible. And I'm knowing Coach Lindley as far as what he brought to the table last year. You can tell he really utilizes a lot of smart tactical schemes based on that thought process. And what I mean by that is that how do I help out my defense just as much as giving our offense confident builders of building blocks that, all right, we got good balance here. We got the tight ends involved. We're getting our outside receivers all. We're dinking and dunking a screen, or we're sprinkling a screen here and there just in case a dropping linebacker gets comfortable getting deep drops. We're going to keep them home with certain things, booting out and changing the launching point for our quarterback draws, quicks with the 3-step. We talked about that last year, that 3-step concept where you're consistently executing a 3-step concept and a 5-step timing concept here, and just moving the chains, letting that clock run and ending drives with more 7s than 3s. That's going to be a major thing. It's a home game. The energy is going to be there. But Ohio's looking to make a statement. They know San Diego State's reputation. They're hoping that our boys got a little distracted about being more focused on this Pac-12 talk than trying to defeat this kid. Yeah, we're nobody. They're going to come in with this Lou Holtz type of, we just want to play a good game. No. They know they're good, but they're not going to bark about that. And we got to be careful that there's no reason why we need to bark neither. We're just, let's play our game, let's play solid. And a W of any type is going to be a quality W, because this is a real good football team here in the Bobcats from Ohio.
Very cool. Good stuff. Very good stuff, man. Are you getting me pumped up to watch these games from a different perspective? Looking at the line a little bit more than looking at the quarterbacks. Looking at the defensive backs and how are they lining up in the defensive backfield, and how the quarterback's going to be reading them. Like, interesting stuff. Chess match.
It's gonna be a chess match. Definitely gonna be a chess match, and I don't know. And I'm an offensive guy, but defensively, I know what really hurt me sometimes is just. I don't mind this, but when you're playing at a 5-yard off, and I really can't tell if you're in zone or man still, I that always bothered me as a play caller and as a quarterback too. Some defensive coordinators, they want those guys jamming receivers and destroying timing is concerned, and that's good. That's tough. That's tough to defeat, but based on what type of quarterback this kid is, man, I got to beat these guys here. I got to beat them. And then I got to make them hold the ball maybe for a half second longer. If I can just show this coverage, but roll to this, or just make it look like, dude, here's an easy one here. You can go ahead and pick us apart. And all of a sudden at the snap, you just really just drop things in a completely different look. Anything to get him to hold that ball just 1 second. And again, make him feel our guys. Because D linemen, you mentioned them earlier, Matt. D linemen, they love getting sacks, but you know what? If they're getting close to that quarterback where they're getting hits on that quarterback, it keeps that juice going for them. It keeps that motor because they feel like, all right, I'm climbing this hill and I'm almost there. I'm getting there. And that's what you want. They get frustrated when they're not even getting close to the guy, and that's where Jay Kaner was really great at it because he's taking his 1-step, 3-step and getting rid of the ball, and he knows where to go and dicing up teams. And he had his way sometimes with us, and sometimes we got to him, but he was so good, on a lot of aspects that I get it. And you're like, man, don't take the hit. Let me get rid of the ball, timing concepts or whatever else. He liked the dink and dunk stuff just as much as anything else. Where this quarterback, he's got the arm. So those deep dig routes, that 15-yard in route, the square outs, he likes the long. He wants to show good film. And this is what I notice about his film. He knows NFL's looking at him. So there are times where he's going to throw a deep out when he's on the short side of the field. He's throwing to the long side of the field. And really, we want to invite that. You really do. Because the longer that ball's in the air, it's going to be better for us because we have a chance to make a break on all that. And he wants to take that bait, give him that bait, whatever, because he wants to show his arm strength. And sometimes you can pick a guy off with that. He doesn't want to do the easy. He wants to do the impressive right now because, he's trying to get his stock to rise. You can see his eyes here looking to the big side, long side of the field. And it's kind of like
he wants to let it fly. He just wants to let it fly.
Yeah. He knows he knows what he wants to put on film. He knows what he wants to put on film. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But as a defense, I hope we can take advantage of some of the things where we throwing that carrot out there for him, baiting him into something and taking a possession away from them. And if we can get 2 to 3 turnovers in this game, Matt, get a couple of good hits, 2 or 3 sacks or whatever else, and then our offense can really win that time of possession battle, then I like our chances. But if this kid is hot and he's rolling and, where he's getting 5-6 play drives and just slinging it all over the park and all that, I hope that doesn't cause us to get where we're going to get desperate on our offensive side of the ball, thinking we have to keep up on, like a basketball game. Let's stay in our identity, and keep things, play Aztec football, physical, and play smart football and team football. I'm looking forward to a great game on Saturday. If we can get this win, it'll be a great start for the 2023 season for sure.
Well, we'll get into more games as the season gets along. It's got a tough 6-game stretch to start the year. Most of them are at home, but looking forward to talking with you again, Coach.
Oh, can't wait. Go Aztecs.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode, Aztecs fans. Again, a big thank you to Coach C for breaking things down. He'll be joining us each week of the football season, so definitely let other Aztecs fans know so they can subscribe to us here on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you again for joining us. We hope to see many of you at the tailgate in the yellow lot. We like to interact with our listeners and as many Aztecs fans as possible. So if you see us, give us a big Go Aztecs, a Hail Montezuma, or just yell at us that you're an Aztec warrior.
I'm an Aztec warrior.
Until then, go support our NIL team members and their custom merchandise at sonsofmontezuma.com. Go Aztecs, beat Ohio.